Good morning, y'all. Today I want to talk to you about creating your annotated bibliography. So this is a joint video. Some of the students I'm talking to are in the Harry Potter themed course, and some of you are in the Literature Survey Comp 2 course. Either way, both of you will be creating an annotated bibliography. That annotated bibliography assignment is described on your research paper assignment sheet. So if you have not read the research paper assignment sheet, please hit pause, go back, read the research paper assignment sheet so that you fully understand the requirements. For both the Harry Potter themed course and the literature survey course, you will be collecting 5 sources at least, bare minimum. 2 of those sources must be scholarly, and we're going to talk about that soon. And 2 of those sources will be online internet sources, or can be online internet sources if you so choose. One of those sources, and we'll start talking about that a little bit today, will be your primary source. A primary source is the original piece of literature that you're going to use as evidence in your paper. So obviously, if you're in the Harry Potter themed course, you're going to use one or more of the Harry Potter books as your primary source. If you're in the survey course, you might use Edgar Allan Poe's The Cask of Amontillado or Joyce Carol Oates' Where Are You Going, Where Have You Been? The short story itself will be your primary source. So let's begin by taking a look at the sample. You'll collect 5 sources, one of them being a primary source, and then you're going to put them into a document. And we're going to go over the sample again later, but real briefly, I want to talk about the basic requirements. So it'll be in MLA format, Times New Roman, 12-point font, 1-inch margins, double spaced, with a heading in the upper left-hand corner, your name, well, that's actually out of order, your name, my name, course name, and date. And then a title. You can simply put annotated bibliography for this particular assignment since it's not an original piece of work, but you might want to put like annotated bibliography and then what the research is that you're collecting. So if you're doing yours on Edgar Allan Poe and his feuds, you might want to put annotated bibliography, the feuds of Edgar Allan Poe. Okay, so for each source that you find, you're going to include 3 pieces of information in your annotated bibliography. The first piece of information you will include in your annotated bibliography is a citation. So here is an MLA citation. And this particular example is a scholarly citation. And you can tell for a couple of different reasons. 1, there's the name of a journal here. 2, the name of a database, EBSCOhost. Again, I'm going to talk to you more about that in a later video. So one piece of information you'll provide in your annotated bibliography is the citation. The next piece of information you'll provide is a summary paragraph. Now, for both of these classes that I'm talking to, I've talked to you about how to do summaries. So you might want to look at your earlier notes, but you should have within your notes a list of summary do's and don'ts. One of the summary do's is to create a topic sentence that identifies the author, the title, and the main idea of the text. So for this particular scholarly article, here's the title. Here's the author's name. And then the student goes on to tell you the main idea. From then, you'll provide a brief overview of information about your text, be it internet, scholarly, or primary, and then you'll end with some sort of resolution. Remember to avoid the don'ts. In a summary paragraph, we don't quote, we don't use first person, we don't state our own opinion, and we don't focus on the small details. Again, a summary is a broad overview. If somebody wants specific details, they can read the article itself. So the first piece of information you'll provide is a citation. The second piece of information you'll provide is a summary. And the third piece of information you'll provide is an evaluation paragraph. Okay, the evaluation paragraph will explain a couple of different things. If you're talking about your primary source, you may just write about why you chose this particular primary source and how it will benefit you in your overall research paper. If you are writing about a scholarly source or an internet source, you're going to spend time talking about how you know this source is valid, not fake news, how you know it is useful, and then explain how you'll use it in your paper as well. For both the Harry Potter course and the Literature Survey Comp 2, you should have an annotated bibliography worksheet in your week 3 module. And all this does is it helps you keep you on track as you create those 3 necessary elements for your annotated, for each source in your annotated bibliography. So if you look at the very beginning, it reminds you that you need an MLA citation, and then there's a link here to help you create those MLA citations. We're going to start taking a look at some of those in a second. And then if you scroll down, you'll see there's a copy of the summary worksheet, which some of you have seen in the past. And then on the second page, some questions on how to create your evaluation paragraph. Okay. All right, so you may want to use this annotated bibliography worksheet as a guide as you create each and every one of the sources that will go into your annotated bibliography. Remember, there will be 5 sources, 1 primary, at least 2 scholarly, and as many as 2 internet. We're going to have a separate video on how to find internet sources and a separate video on how to find scholarly sources, but I just want you to keep that in mind as we move forward. All right, let's talk a little bit about citation. Within the week 13 module, all of you should see a link to the OWL at Purdue online writing lab. Go ahead and click on that maybe and open it in a new tab. So maybe in the past you've had teachers who have actually given you citations or citation examples and asked you to copy them. And I have done that in the past, but because the citation rules are constantly changing, I find that it's better to sort of teach my students how to fish. So in this, on this website, this is the most trusted online writing website. You will find updated citation information. So I just want to show you how to navigate it. So if you'll come to the site and scroll down, you'll see on the left-hand side the suggested resources. We want the MLA guide. Okay. From here, you'll see the MLA formatting and style guide. If you'll click on that, especially like on that little arrow off to the right, another drop-down menu will come down. Okay, and you'll see a couple of different options. So here there's MLA Works Cited page books. So for those of you in the Harry Potter course, you might want to take a look at the basic book citation. And then you'll see MLA Works Cited electronic sources. This is the one that you're going to be using almost exclusively. So if you're in the Harry Potter course, you're going to start by finding one of the scholarly sources we've read this semester on Canvas, and you're going to use that as one of your sources. You're going to start by citing that and summarizing and evaluating that. If you are in the literature survey course, you're going to begin with your primary source. You're going to summarize your primary source, explain why you chose this source over all others, and then create also an MLA citation for that. So either way, the sample I'm going to show you is going to work for you. So I'm going to click on Electronic Works Cited. Okay, and then we're going to scroll down a little bit. So as we scroll down, you'll see a couple of different kinds of samples. So the first one is citing an entire website. I don't think any of you are going to cite an entire website, but you may cite a page on a website. And in fact, when you're citing something from Canvas, you're going to use this page on a website option. Here you'll see citing an ebook. And then the other one that's going to be really useful to you is this one, an article from an online database. We're going to revisit this one when we start talking about electronic sources, but this one is going to be important for all of you too, this sample. So let's scroll back up to the page on a website sample. Okay, so as I said, Canvas is a website, and you are going to choose an article or a primary source in PDF from that site to create your first entry into your annotated bibliography. So you'll begin with the author's last name, comma, first name, period. Now, sometimes on some sources, an author's name is not provided. In that case, you would begin with the short story or article title. But for all of you on your first source, you should have an author's name. So if you're doing a primary source, you might have Poe, comma, Edgar Allan, period. Or if you're doing a scholarly source, obviously the author's name will be provided. Directly after the author's name will be a period, and then following that, the title of the text. So if that's the title of the scholarly article or the title of the short story, one of the PDF copies I provided you. Following the title, you'll have a period with quotation marks around it. Okay, notice the quotation marks. Following that, you'll have the name of the website in italics. For us, the name of that website is Canvas. Following that, a date of publication. So if you see on this sample here, there's a date of publication provided, and on this sample there isn't. And that's simply because on this website source, no date was provided. So if you're doing one of the short story PDF copies that I provided in Module 12, you won't have a date. But if you're in the Harry Potter course, there should be a date of publication on the scholarly article that you choose, right? So you're going to want a date of publication here in European format, day, month, year, just like this, day, month, year. All right. Following the date of publication, after a comma, you'll have the URL, and that's just the web address. So go up to the very top of your screen, copy the web address, and paste it here with a period after. Often when you copy and paste it into a document, like a Word document, it tends to hyperlink. If it does hyperlink, I want you to click on that hyperlink, right click on it, and then there should be the option to remove the link. Okay, after you have provided the URL, you'll have a period, and then after that, the day that you accessed it. So let's say that you're doing your research today. Today is March 23rd. I would put accessed 3 March 2020, period. Do you get it? So generally, I have students in the Learning Lab and I'm walking them through the process. The benefit, however, of the video is you can watch it and rewatch it as many times as you need to. Okay, so at this point, all of you should move on to next steps, the next item in the weekly module. So if you're in the Harry Potter course, that means completing reading log 14, finding one of the scholarly articles we read in class, creating a citation, a summary, and an evaluation paragraph for that source. If you are in the Literature Survey regular Comp 2 course, you're going to complete reading log 16. You're going to create a citation for your chosen short story, one of those 4 PDFs that I posted to Module 12. And then you'll summarize that short story and evaluate it. And then I'll see y'all back here for our next video on citation.